Radio. I'm Reverend Rich. This is
I'm
Reverend.
Reverend Paul.
And we have our
I'm
special
Reverend
guest. Go ahead.
I'm Reverend Karen. I didn't know if I was supposed to say that or you guys were going to say that.
Well, that's why we leave it. See, folks, this is live. And this is Prayers
Unscripted.
Radio, and we're all about prayer. Science of Mind prayer. Ernest Holmes. Go ahead, Paul. Say what
Affirmative prayer.
There we go. See, we do this every time. It's fun. And we have our special guest today who has already introduced herself, but Paul will introduce her again.
This is Reverend Karen Linsley. She's an amazing minister, interim minister, focus ministry. And we'll bring her into that.
That's right. And we're going to have her pray us in, and then we're going to have her tell us about herself. So if you pray us in, please.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Settling into this absolutely glorious place where I recognize that God, spirit, power, force, energy, that thing that is, as Ernest Holmes calls it, the stuff that is everywhere present. Even and especially present in the minds and the hearts and the consciousness of myself and Rich and Paul here today on this radio show. Spirit is indeed present in our words. Spirit is present in everyone who is listening and watching this show. Spirit is. It simply is. And so I speak my word with this connection behind me, giving full force to my words, knowing that our time together today is most excellent, good and very good. All is indeed well, not only on this show today, but everywhere. All is indeed well, right here and right now. And so I declare our time together good and very well blessed. And I release my words into that absolutely glorious law that says yes. And I anchor, and so it is.
So it is. Well, we are so blessed to have you today because you are a fantastic person. You have a lot of information that we're going to go through and a lot of good things. And she has, let me just do my quick thing. You have 3 books.
Yep.
The latest one that's coming out, is it already come out or is it Fearlessly Feral? And the book itself, you can fearlesslyferal.org is where that can be reached at, and her ministry is reached at right now. And there's other things. There's more. And I've got, again, this is live, folks. So go ahead and tell us anything else that I may have left off.
But wait, there's more. That's one of my favorite expressions. If you ever listen to my podcast, chances are somewhere in that podcast, I'm going to say, but wait, there's more. So yeah, there's a lot more. I guess I'll start with the book since it's already been mentioned. It's called, and everything's backwards here. There we go.
There you go.
How to live. Thanks, Paul. How to Live Fearlessly Feral. It's not even available yet on Amazon. I checked this morning. Any day now, any day. But you can order advanced author copies from me and go to fearlesslyferal.org, and you can reach me through there. And I have a link that you can buy the book, a print version of the book. The digital version will be out soon. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all those other places. So that's the book. The book has been many years in the making, and it's a part of my focus ministry called Fearlessly Feral Living. And a focus ministry is a ministry with a focus. Now, a focus ministry can be physical in person. It can be through a center or a church or a teaching chapter or something like that. Mine is completely online, although I can and I do travel to do workshops, and I'll be hitting the road soon with the book once it becomes fully ready, and visiting various places to talk about this pretty incredible piece of work that has just come out. So a focus ministry basically focuses on one aspect of ministry. My aspect is teaching people to take spiritual principles and spiritual practices and not just apply them in their life, but to live them. And my experience is that not everybody, even ministers sometimes, they don't know how to do that. They take a principle like oneness. Well, yeah, I believe in oneness. I believe that God and I are connected, that God is everywhere present and we're all one. But what does that mean for someone in their life? This book explains it. And it takes a deep dive into principles like that. So that's my focus ministry. And yes, I have a podcast as well. And I talk about any various aspects of life. And there's always a principle and a practice in the podcast. And I'm like, okay, here's how this applies in this particular situation. So that's the focus ministry. And
you also run an interim ministry, correct?
I do, yes. So Centers for Spiritual Living has an interim minister program. There are currently, and I'm going to get this wrong because numbers and I are not always faithful to one another. And I'm sorry, I don't know how else to put it. I think there's about 10 interim ministers in this program. It is facilitated by Centers for Spiritual Living. And it is specifically for communities who have lost their ministers for whatever reason. And we interims are trained. We have a special training program for us. We are trained, and we have a special certificate too, to go into these communities and shepherd them from everything that occurs when a loss happens, the grief, the feelings of betrayal, the anger, all the stuff that goes on when there's a loss. We go in and facilitate successful transition, healing. We heal. And by the time we're done, and it takes anywhere from 6 months to about a year and a half, although once in a great while, one of us might serve a community a little longer. My average amount of time, and I've served 5 communities now, I think, has been a year. It's been a year. And so we go in and we do all that grief work. We do the healing work. It's a lot of workshops, a lot of teaching, a lot of training. And by the time we're done, the community is ready and eager. They know who they are. They know what they're about. They know what their vision is. They know what their consciousness is. And they're ready to attract their new forever minister. And then the job announcement goes up on the CSL website, and then ministers apply, and then they get matched up with their forever minister. And then the interim minister leaves. I say bye, and I'm out of there, and I go home and I rest for a while.
And how do you use prayer through that ministry?
Oh, it's constant. I pray every single day. I specifically how I use prayer is so, as an interim, I'm going into a challenging situation. I'm going into a situation where people are not at their best. They are hurting units. And when people are not at their best, they are acting in ways that are sometimes not very pretty. And so I begin with prayer. And I pray for my own consciousness first. And I pray that I'm compassionate and loving and kind and open and willing and able to listen to these people who have had this incredible loss. And then I go in with that mindset, because prayer changes the mind of the one doing the praying, which is one of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes. So I change my mind as often as is necessary, and sometimes it's several times a day. Sometimes it's almost constantly, because it is sometimes a challenging situation, but it's very, very rewarding work, and I love it. So I pray as often as necessary to change my own consciousness. And then I go in. And then when the people speak to me, the first thing I do is go to prayer. And I ask them, okay, you're angry or you're betrayed or you are feeling, you're not trusting, you want to leave. And I'd say if the situation were ideal, what would you be feeling right now? What do you want to feel? How do you want to show up in this thing called Center for Spiritual Living anycity.com? How do you want to show up in this role here? And they say, and they think about it for a minute and they say, oh, I want to show up as peace and love and light. And that's what we pray for.
Mm.
We go right into prayer.
And
We go
what are
right
some of
in.
the tangible results that you've seen from that?
Oh my goodness. Well, the last place I served as interim minister was Center for Spiritual Living Bakersfield. I just got a thank you letter from them yesterday. They are growing to the point where they were able to fix their roof in their church. Now, if you guys probably know, roofs are expensive.
Mm.
Last winter when I was there was flooding because the roof was leaking in multiple places. It's a very old building. I love this. I love the building. I like old buildings. And they walked in one morning and said, and they called me and they said, Karen, there's a flood. No, it was in the evening. They were doing something special. And when I'm serving as an interim, I'm not always there physically. I'm only there physically once or twice a month, depending on what's going on. I wasn't there physically. Apparently, there was a big flood in the sanctuary. And so they needed to get the roof fixed. They have grown to the point where they got the roof fixed. They were able to pay for it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So prayer comes out, prayer works. It has tangible physical results. My favorite form of prayer is to change the consciousness of the one doing the praying, myself. But that always results and manifests in physical outcomes.
Now, how do you prep your day with prayer? Like wake up in the morning and start your day?
First thing I do, and then when I start my day, is I go outside and feed the horses. So there's no praying done until the critters get fed. So yeah, I get up, I bundle up now because there's snow outside on the ground. It snowed last night, and so I go outside, feed the horses, break the ice in the water trough, come in, feed the cats, feed the dogs, grab my coffee, then I sit.
Mm.
First thing I do is read some daily meditation books. And that gets my mindset into this place where I am kind of out of, okay, feeding the critters and doing all the stuff that I do. I'm into that place of consciousness. And then I go inward and I do like a scan. And what am I feeling today? What's going on inside of me? Where's my consciousness at today?
Mm.
Now, if my consciousness is sucky, which sometimes it is, I am not always happy, joyous, and free. I'm not always enthusiastic. I'm not always um, feeling motivated to do anything at all except sit there, uh, which for me is not always good. But whatever it is, if my consciousness needs to be changed, that's when prayer comes in.
Mm.
That's when prayer comes in. And so I do that. And then once I finish the prayer, then my consciousness is changed. And then I start writing because I write almost every day. I'm working on 2 new books now. Now that the third one's out, sort of, can't wait for it to get a clue and get on Amazon. But like I said, those author copies are available for me directly. But yeah, I'm working on 2 new books already. Yeah.
Now, how have you seen your prayer change over time from starting being a practitioner to now being an interim minister?
Oh dear. Okay. Way back when I became a practitioner in 2008. So I was busy manifesting parking places back then. I really was. I'm like, I got the parking place. Life is good. Of course, I live in rural Nevada, so parking is not an issue. But it was the equivalent of parking places. And as I recall back then, financial abundance was where I was at with all of that. And that's not an issue today. So I guess back then I was more focused on praying for outside things like parking places and money. And now I'm focused on praying for inner things, my consciousness, my psychological frame of mind, what's going on inside of me, because I know that everything begins within.
Mm.
Everything is created twice, first in our mind and then out there. And so I always bring it within. I always go within. And Paul, you and I we talk about this every conversation we have, Rich. Once a week, Paul and I are talking, and he's like, well, just pray about it. And I know there's a step before you pray about it. You need to know what to pray for. And in order to know what to pray for, you got to go within and see what's going on inside of there and explore and acknowledge that there's stuff going on inside. I'm really trying hard not to swear, you guys. There's stuff going on inside, and you got to take care of that. Otherwise, for me, if I don't take care of that stuff first, prayer's not going to work because I'm still in the consciousness of I feel icky.
And do you do a 3-step, a 5-step, a 7-step prayer? What's your prayer order there?
I was taught 5 steps.
5 steps.
Yeah. We even had an acronym. Are you ready to receive?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Are you ready to receive? RURTR. Are you ready to receive? Yeah.
I like that. Anything you want to add, Rich?
Well, I was going to say that the prayers, a lot of times we do argumentative, where we're arguing with ourselves on it. So that's that's more of a 7-step thing where you deny power to and so on and so forth. But the 5-step works too. It's because you're just saying, hey, I remember we had a few other guests on that said, no, I use 5-step because it works and I apply it and I already know it because it's done. And you're one that believes that also. That works well because we have to do prayer that manifests inside of ourselves that will bring us what we want.
Yes.
How we do it, whether it's argumentative or whether it's declaration. I'm declaring this to be so. It has to be done that way where you're comfortable with it and your mind is the mind that accepts it. Your mind is the mind of God, and then it ripples out into the universe.
I think for me, the argumentative part happens before I ever enter the prayer. Because I'm like, okay, this is going on. I don't want this. But if this is true and that's true, then I can change what's going on. And I get to that place before I ever start the prayer. And so when I start the prayer, I'm there already. And who was I talking to the other day? I don't think it was you, Paul. I think it was another person that I talk to regularly. And she was telling me that there's a minister out there who does 7 steps, and it's always there's always adds the argumentative piece into it, and that's the way he teaches it. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, we had Reverend Bob Dean on, and he does a 7-step prayer.
Ooh, that's the one. It was probably you, Paul, that told me about that. Yeah.
Bob is great. Bob is fantastic. I mean, watch. He's on. I gotta look that show up because we've had so many guests, but he's fantastic. I think you'd like you. Yeah.
Well, Bob's an intern minister now.
Oh, is
So
he? Yeah, I guess he said he was going to a couple of other places and taking care of them, I guess,
yeah,
in terms of that.
yeah. So I see him at interim meetings once a month on Zoom, of course. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
wonderful
Bob,
how everybody takes a personal step to prayer. Like Bob uses 7 steps, you use 5 steps. There's people that use 3 steps, but
Yeah,
it's all the same thing.
it's all basically the same thing. I've never even heard of the 3 steps, honestly.
just
And
the first. It's just the first three parts of prayer.
Yeah, that was the
Recognize,
original Ernest Holmes
declare.
prayer.
Yeah. Bob was on show 27 for our folks that are listening, so you might want to listen to that show again. It was cool.
okay.
But the 3-step, and then there's a 1-step that Jim Terrell talks about. But you better know your stuff because you're already in that consciousness
You're
when you're
already
speaking
there.
the truth. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's
I just had a thought. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
yeah.
but there's a squirrel. I just had a thought. And my practitioner teacher, God is, I am, it's done. Thanks. Bye.
I
That's the
like that.
5 steps. God is, I am, it's done. Thanks. Bye.
Works for me.
Works for
Hey.
yeah.
And there was a Reverend Arlene Rosebum. She did the 3 steps. She said, God is, I am, all is well.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not begging God in our philosophy ever. We've had that discussion every pastor.
Oh, beseeching
And
prayers.
there's no God outside of ourselves either.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not separate from the universal all. It's just
Yeah.
I took chemistry as a minor in college, and it's like, all right, what's not made of the physical forms that we have in chemistry? Well,
Mhm.
so that goes in a different. Let's not go down that path. So what triggers a prayer in your life? If you talked about squirrel. When the squirrel happens, what do you do? And that triggers you. What's your prayer practice? Oh God, no.
No, it's so what triggers a prayer for me is when I'm just not feeling right. When I'm feeling depressed or sad or angry or frustrated or any of those feelings that are sometimes called negative. I don't really call them negative anymore because they're there for a reason.
Mm,
Um, they're learning, they're tools. They're like pointing me in a direction, or there's something within me that wants my attention. So I go in, I explore it. I go, what's going on? Why are we feeling this way? And and me and my inner committee, we have a little chat, and I explore things and I listen to what they have to say. And that's the beginning of the prayer for me, because once we have that conversation, then I know, oh, okay, you're frustrated because, or you're angry because, or whatever the feeling is. And um, what would I like to be instead? And that's
mm.
the prayer. That's the prayer. Yeah.
That works.
That works
How
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we ask this question? How your prayers have changed over time? I know we talked from
Oh,
practitioner
yeah, from
going.
parking spaces to.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we got that one. So this is live, folks. So we just go through this.
They
When you
have
went through,
questions. Yeah.
so you already gave us your prayer specifics. You go through the 5 steps, and that's what works for you, and mostly all the time. And then you analyze it if it doesn't. And then
Mhm.
how do you explain our philosophy to somebody if they're like, what are you doing? What are you?
Like your elevator talk.
My
Your elevator
elevator
speech.
speech.
Yeah, as our friend Bill talked about in our last show. He said our elevator speech.
Yeah, the elevator speech. Uh, God is everywhere present, and you can call it whatever you want, and our thoughts have power. That's my elevator speech. And I do that on purpose because then they go, huh? And I get the little head tilt, and they usually like, okay, when we step out of the elevator, let's have a conversation. What does that mean?
Mm.
What does that mean? And then it opens it up. But yeah, I talk, God is everywhere present. including in and as us, and our thoughts have power. And if I have time, I'll say, because most people I speak to are Christian. Um, you know how in the Bible where it says God spoke and stuff got created? Well, if God is everywhere present and it's a part of us and we're a part of it, that means when we speak, stuff gets created.
Mm.
They do exactly what you two just did. They nod sagely.
Like they get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're at the 5-minute mark. We're going to shotgun the last questions.
Okay.
Paul,
Is,
go
is
ahead,
there
Paul.
is there a favorite book of yours from Ernest Holmes that you could recommend?
Science of Mind textbook, but right now I'm rereading The Art of Life.
Good book.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I recommend for beginners this thing called You. Although I did hear someone once say, tell me he thought this thing called You was the ultimate book for self-centered narcissists or something like that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, is there a prayer request in there? Yeah.
And then what's your favorite quote from anywhere in Science of Mind that we have besides Rule 52?
Principle is not bound by precedent.
Mm.
Ooh, bam! I like that
Bam. That's
Yeah.
the heart of it.
one. That's the heart of it. That's the heart of it. Totally.
And is there a takeaway that you would, if someone's watching this, what would be your takeaway for this?
My takeaway for
For, for being on Prayers Radio, what would you want people to know?
Well, I'm certainly feeling better now coming out of this talk with you guys than I was going in.
Yay.
Because this morning was one of those mornings where I needed to change my consciousness.
And we're so glad we could change it with you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my takeaway today.
It's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, we just want to plug your book again and plug you. She's at Karen Linsley, KarenLinsley.com.
Uh-huh.
And her book, hold that up, Paul, Fearlessly Feral. And you go to fearlesslyferal.org, O-R-G, it's .com. So make sure we get that right. And then she has a couple of other books.
This is a favorite book here.
It's 12 steps. And I think we talked about that, Karen, that it's based on Mr. Bill's stuff with the AA stuff.
It's based on 12-step philosophy, yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, no, it's not based. It's what I did was I took the 12 steps and translated them into new thought language.
Mm.
So,
that'd be good.
So the first step in AA language is admitted we were powerless and that our lives are unmanageable. My first step is admitted that I was ready for a change in my life.
And that goes on to your next book, which is The Girl Called Woogie.
The Girl Who Cried Woogie. Yeah, that's an autobiography. And yeah, there was a lot of crying of Woogie around there. So, and that's what Woogie means. Can't say it without smiling or chuckling. Yep.
Well, we'll definitely put your information inside of the show notes so that folks can actually get a hold of you and check that out. And then thank you for sharing the information about the what is that called, Paul? The Focus Ministry.
Oh, the Focus Ministry and the Interim Ministry.
Yes, because a lot of our listeners may not know about that have been in the philosophy a while. I believe that's a new thing.
The Interim Ministry is several years old. I've been doing it. My first interim assignment was in 2019. But it predated that. And then Focus Ministries have been around for a really long time. I mean, church is not the only way to do Science of Mind. There's teaching chapters, there's teaching centers, there's Focus Ministries, there's centers. So there's a lot of different ways to get the message out there.
So people that are practitioners and things of that nature or other ministers that don't know other options may want to contact you directly. I'm thinking, are you open to that?
Oh, yeah, I'm always open to that. Call me anytime. Call me. I don't care. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere in rural Nevada. Call me anytime. Believe me. I might be out with the horses shoveling horse manure, but call me. I'll
Call
talk.
me.
Yeah.
Well, you're the stuff, right? So, I'm Rev Rich of Prayers Radio. And then, Paul, where can they find you?
They can find me at iamspiritalive.com.
And of course, we have our guest, Karen.
Thank you to you, Karen, for being
Yeah.
here.
And it's just wonderful. So go ahead and pray us out if you would, please.
All righty then. So I just got the chills, which tells me we got stuff going on here. We got stuff going on here. And so as we prepare to go on our separate journeys this morning, I'm already feeling and knowing and acknowledging that presence of God because it was here the whole conversation. I acknowledge and state my word and affirm that that presence continues for each of us present and for everyone watching and listening on this call today. Spirit is, God is. That stuff that is, that force, that energy, it is. And we manifest as spirit. Spirit manifests as us. And so as we move off on our separate journeys, I am affirming and acknowledging that the joy and the delight and the laughter and the profound moments and the wisdom that has been generated here on this call today continues on our journeys as we move out into the world. That we continue to experience and express joy and wisdom and peace and power. And most importantly, love. And so with that, I release all my words and I anchor, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. Well, we're Prayers Radio, and remember, if you don't say a prayer, you haven't got a prayer. So everybody say bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.